In a forgotten corner of the world, nestled deep within the heart of a dense forest, there lay a series of treacherous caverns and winding tunnels. This eerie place was home to a cunning and malevolent race known as goblins, with grotesque features and snaring grins. These creatures subsisted within the depths of these labyrinths, unseen and unheard by the world above, for centuries. Legends whispered tales of the goblins' darkest secret, a sinister obsession with testing the limits of human bravery. The goblins reveled in luring unsuspecting travelers into their dark domain, tempting them with the illusion of trials and rewards, only to subject them to unimaginable horrors and despair. Those who dared to enter the goblins' labyrinth would find themselves trapped within a twisted maze of claustrophobic tunnels. The darkness weighed heavy upon their shoulders, suffocating their hopes and clouding their minds. Every step taken was a step further away from the safety they once knew and closer to an eternal nightmare. Intricately crafted traps and illusionary dead ends played with their minds, causing confusion and terror to wash over them like a wave. From the walls, the goblins whispered vile promises and deceptive encouragements, their taunting laughter echoing through the chilling darkness. The labyrinth itself seemed sentient, shifting and rearranging its corridors, deliberately toying with the sanity of its prisoners. Shadows danced with macabre delight, creating illusions of monstrous creatures that lunged forward, only to vanish into thin air. The menacing presence of the goblins was ever present, their malevolent gaze following the lost souls who had strayed into their trap, as the victims stumbled and fumbled frantically to find an escape. The goblins reveled in their fear, feeding off the despair and anguish. It was said that the labyrinth could smell their emotions, the scent amplifying the enjoyment the goblins derived from their nefarious games. They relished the climax of their trials, as the hearts of their victims pounded with the intensity of their fear. At the summit of this terror, the goblins revealed their true forms, an abomination of gnarled limbs and fanged mouths, their glowing eyes reflecting the torment they had inflicted. It was then that the trapped souls realized the sordid fate that awaited them, a life of torment and eternal servitude to the goblins. Only a few, strong and resolute, managed to evade the relentless pursuit of the goblins, defying their twisted game. But those who did escape emerged from the labyrinth forever scarred, their sanity hanging precariously by a thread, and their lives forever haunted by the memories of their encounter with the goblins' treacherous trials. Deep within the heart of the labyrinth, amidst the twisted passages and eerie whispers, a particular goblin named Malgrin thrived. He was no ordinary goblin, for he possessed a higher intellect and an insatiable hunger for power. Malgrin had risen through the ranks of his brethren, becoming their leader and orchestrating the most insidious trials ever devised. With pale, sunken eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness, Malgrin had learned to exploit the weaknesses of the human psyche. He reveled in the anguish and despair that echoed through the labyrinth, using it as fuel to feed his growing ambition. His ultimate goal was to create a haven, a dark kingdom where goblins could reign supreme alongside their twisted and broken prisoners. But Malgrin's depravity went beyond that of his brethren. While the goblins derived pleasure from the suffering they inflicted, Malgrin derived an altogether different pleasure, one that hinged on control and manipulation. He would meticulously select his victims, studying their fears and weaknesses, ensuring the perfect blend of torment and vulnerability. Yet there was one particular aspect of human nature that intrigued Malgrin: the presence of hope. He understood that as long as a glimmer of hope remained, the torment he inflicted could be tenfold. The trials within his labyrinth were cunningly designed to promise salvation, glimpses of ethereal light that lured the naive into their clutches. Among those who traversed the labyrinth, a young adventurer named Arya had become unwitting prey. drawn to the tales of grand rewards whispered in tavern corners. She foolishly embarked on a quest to prove her worth, unaware of the malevolence that awaited her. Arya possessed a fierce determination and a heart filled with compassion, traits that would be mercilessly exploited by Malgrin. The labyrinth twisted and shifted as Arya pressed forward, her hope fueling her resolve. Along her journey, she encountered various obstacles and puzzles, each more treacherous than the last. The walls, adorned with goblin runes, mocked her efforts, constantly reminding her that escape would not come easily. As Arya ventured deeper into the darkness, her senses heightened. The whispers in the shadows grew louder, urging her to give up, to succumb to the despair that lay waiting. But she fought against the doubts that gnawed at her mind, her spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. The trials intensified, pushing Arya to her limits. The labyrinth played cruel tricks, altering its paths and mirroring her fears. Time seemed to blur, and the line between reality and illusion merged, leaving Arya unsure of what was real and what was merely a figment of her tortured imagination. Yet, as Arya struggled through the labyrinth, her presence did not go unnoticed by Malgrin. He observed her every move, reveling in her tenacity and tasting the tantalizing flavor of her hope. Every bone in his twisted body ached to break her, to extinguish that flickering light within her. And so, he devised his cruelest trial yet, one that would test her to the core. As Arya neared the heart of the labyrinth, she stumbled upon a rickety bridge spanning a seemingly bottomless abyss. Panic welled up within her as she hesitated, uncertainty gripping her tightly. Malgrin watched with delight, knowing that her hope would be her downfall. Unbeknownst to Arya, the bridge was an illusion, a macabre trick conjured by Malgrin's dark magic. It would crumble beneath her weight as she stepped forward, plunging her into the depths below. Perched upon a ledge, Malgrin eagerly awaited her demise, the moment when her hope would shatter, and her spirit would crumble. But little did he know, Arya possessed a resilience that even he could not comprehend. With a surge of determination, she took a deep breath and stepped onto the bridge, defying the devious trap before her. The bridge quivered and swayed beneath her, threatening to give way, but Arya's will was unyielding. She pressed forward, taking one daring step after another until she reached Odyr's side, her spirit unbroken. The moment Arya stood triumphant on solid ground, a terrible rage consumed Malgrin. His scheme had failed, his power undermined by her indomitable spirit. Though he couldn't see it in the darkness, Malgrin's twisted features twisted further into a malevolent sneer. He knew his torment would intensify, his cruelty ratcheting up to new heights. As Arya pressed on, facing more trials and horrors, Malgrin plotted his revenge. He would make her pay tenfold for her defiance, her spirit breaking under the weight of his malevolence. For the labyrinth awaited its next opportunity to claim its toll, and in the darkness, Malgrin cackled with anticipation, reveling in the torment still to come. As Arya ventured deeper into the labyrinth, her every step weighed heavily with the knowledge of Malgrin's wicked intent. The challenges grew more twisted and treacherous, each one designed to break her resolve further. Yet, her determination remained unyielding, her indomitable spirit refusing to be extinguished. Unbeknownst to Arya, the goblins had been monitoring her progress with a mix of awe and apprehension. They had not anticipated such resilience from a mere human. Whispers fluttered through the air, spreading tales of an intruder who dared defy the goblins' malevolent grip. Word of Arya's perseverance reached the ears of an elder goblin, Morgrim, who harbored a secret distaste for Malgrin's sadistic games. Morgrim had witnessed enough despair and cruelty and yearned for a change, a glimmer of redemption hidden within the bowels of the labyrinth. Driven by a spark of compassion, Morgrim took it upon himself to aid Arya in her escape. He knew the dangers that lay ahead, the snares and illusions that awaited her in the deeper recesses of the caverns. And so, under the cloak of darkness, Morgrim guided Arya silently, leaving faint clues and markings to lead her to safety. But as Morgrim defied Malgrin's schemes, tensions rose within the labyrinth's sinister depths. Malgrin's hunger for power and control intensified, his obsession with breaking Arya becoming all-consumingly grotesque. The confrontation between the two goblin factions loomed, a twisted battle of ideologies and desires. In the shadows, Arya navigated the final trial, the Chamber of Reflection. It was a room filled with countless mirrors, reflecting back distorted images of herself. Whispers filled the air, attempting to sow seeds of doubt, questioning her worth and sanity. But Arya's perseverance remained resolute as she sought the truth in the maze of reflections. As she faced her own distorted image, Arya finally embraced the power within her, the strength to combat the darkness that surrounded her. She shattered the illusion, sending shards of broken glass cascading through the chamber. With each shattered mirror, the power of Malgrin weakened, his hold over the labyrinth crumbling. It was in this pivotal moment that Morgrim, his heart longing for redemption, emerged from the shadows, his allegiance shifting to aid the human whose spirit had captivated him. Together, Arya and Morgrim made their way, navigating the labyrinth's final twists and turns, leaving chaos and uncertainty in their path. Finally, they reached the labyrinth's exit, a small crack of dawn that filtered through the rocky ceiling, bathing the cavern in a dim, eerie light. Arya emerged into the sunlight, blinking away the darkness that clung to her vision. The forest welcomed her back, its serene beauty a stark contrast to the horrors she had endured. As Arya breathed in the fresh air, Morgrim bid her farewell, knowing his place remained within the labyrinth's depths to spark change from within. Their alliance, however unlikely, had shattered the goblins' malevolent reign, initiating a shift in the underworld hierarchy. And so, as Arya ventured back into the world she had nearly lost, she carried with her the memory of the labyrinth's horrors. She vowed to share her tale, to warn others of the lurking dangers beneath the surface and the resilience that lies dormant within the human spirit. But in the depths of the labyrinth, Malgrin seethed with a twisted fury, his realm tainted by defeat and the loss of control. Vowing revenge, he submerged himself in dark magic, vowing to construct an even deadlier labyrinth, one that would ensnare even the bravest souls. For in that eternal struggle between light and darkness, hope and despair, the goblins would continue to lure unsuspecting victims into their mazes, their hunger for power and torment insatiable. Thus, the cycle persevered, leaving a haunting legacy in the forgotten depths of the world, a legacy that whispered of a labyrinth filled with malevolence, where the souls of the lost forever wandered in tortured despair.